Hel- Hello. So today we'll start with the cloud consumer part, which is one of the actor in cloud computing model proposed by NIST. So that architecture include one of the top f- actor as cloud consumer. So what does it do? Cloud consumer. It basically uses browser and uses services. What how the cloud consumers are being set up with some contractor with cloud provider. Some contract with cloud provider will actually make the cloud consumer start working. Then cloud consumer needs SLA to specify technical performance. So the service level agreements are being constructed between cloud consumer and cloud provider, and performance requirement are being fulfilled by the cloud provider. So these are the mm, top three activities done by the cloud consumer. So we'll look into what is in the SLA. SLA will cover actually quality of service, security, remedy for the performance failures. So all these things are being covered into the service level agreement between who? Between cloud consumer and cloud provider. Then a cloud provider may have list of SLAs that limit and obligate cloud consumer by must acceptance. So there are various type of key pointers that cloud consumer must accept before start using the service of cloud consumer cloud provider. So the services must have to be have the must acceptance for the all the agreements. Then the cloud consumer can be freely choose a cloud provider, like whether you can make account on Facebook or LinkedIn or Instagram. So it's all your choice where you want to make account in your social media. Then and you can, if there are pricing on the particular type of cloud computing media, then you have to pay according to that. So you will try to choose best optimal pricing and best service. So you actually choose by yourself by pricing. So pricing policy and SLA both are non-negotiable after the agreements are been done. So these are the important points that you have to take care as a cloud consumer. So who are the cloud consumers? So this picture shows there are three type of cloud consumers: software as a service consumer, platform as a service consumer, infrastructure as a service consumer. So what infrastructure as a service consumer do is storage, CDN, content delivery network, backups and recovery, service management, platform hosting, compute. These are the services used by IaaS users. Then who are the PaaS users or PaaS consumers? So PaaS consumers are those who uses database, application development environment, integration, business intelligence, development and testing part. So all these features and services are being used by PaaS consumer. Then SaaS consumer, who are the SaaS consumer? So you all are the SaaS consumer. You have used Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. These are the cloud services, software as a service. So if you used Facebook, Google, Gmail, anything like that, Instagram, you are a SaaS consumer, software as a service consumer. But if you go into the some delicate part like human resource handling, social network, finance, content management, email and office productivity, document management, collaboration, CRM, sales, billing, ERP. So all these things are particularly related to the SaaS consumer. So these are typical thing, specific, very specific CRM, billing, ERP, human resource, social networking, finance. So these are the particular things. So you are well aware about social networks like Facebook, Google, or that Instagram. So you are aware of that. But other things are like document management, like Google Docs, Microsoft MS Word at online mode. So content management, all these things are specific. Emails like Gmail or Outlook. So then SaaS consumer, will discuss about the SaaS consumer. So the 2 point that we'll discuss, how the SaaS consumer are being organized and how the SaaS consumer are being built. So SaaS consumer are organized such that there are a particular member with some software applications. So they directly uses the software application, or they actually have the administration and configuration of that software application online for the end user. So there are two type of software as a service consumer. First is you directly uses Facebook or something software as a service application. Second, you configure some of the application and make it usable to the other end user. These are the two SaaS consumer. For example, second one is little complicated. So suppose there is a institute, and that institute actually hire Gmail or Google's services or Outlook Microsoft services. So the administrator on for from that organization will actually manages and configure the that Google account and Outlook account for each of the student or staff member or technical team, so that they can be used, that software service can be used. So this is the second category. First one is very obvious, user of Facebook, user of Gmail account. So first one is automatically clear. I think second one is also clear to all of you, that application administrator who configures application for the end user. Then we'll see software as a service consumer can be built based on the number of end user, how they are being used, built based upon the time of usage. What is the time of usage of that service? What is the network being consumed? What is the amount of data stored in that software as a service? What is the duration of storage that are being done? Then we'll see second type of consumer, which is platform as a service consumer. So we'll see what are the four type of uh, platform as a service consumer. Then we'll see how they are being built. So there are basically platform as a service consumer basically do application development and application administration. So they could be done in the four ways. One, who design and implement some application, software application on platform as a service. Second one is application tester who run the test cases, test suits, and test scenarios for the particular test application. So these are the second type of users. Third one is who publishes some application into the cloud. Means they might not develop it, but they publish that service. So that published service could be used by software as a service consumer. So the platform as a service consumer basically publishes some application on into the cloud. Thereafter, fourth one, so the configuration and monitor application performance. So the PaaS consumer basically configure and monitor some applications and their performance. so that they could have better and better services. Thereafter, PaaS consumer can actually build based upon the processing part. So some process, how much processing are being done, what are the database storage being used, what are the network resources which are being consumed by the PaaS application. So all these things are being taken care. Then the duration of the PaaS usage, platform usage. So all these things are being taken care of. After third one is infrastructure as a service consumer. So the that IaaS consumer basically are of different type. Like we'll discuss system developer who actually develop the whole infrastructure. Then system administrator who actually after development of infrastructure they manages and administer the system, and IT manager. Then who are interested in creating, installing, and managing monitoring such services for IT infrastructure operations. So these are the different type of IaaS consumer. So I hope that you all been clear with this IaaS consumer. Then IaaS, how consumer, how they are being built. They are being built at the most fundamental level of infrastructure, like duration of the resources consumed. So like RAM, hard disk, hard drive, or some other devices. Like example, there are various devices like networking, net gears, and all these things are being how much they are being used. So they are being built according to that. Then the virtual computer are there. Virtual computer, what does it mean by virtual computer? Means virtual computer. Then what is the volume that are being consumed? What is the bandwidth that are being consumed? The number of IP addresses that are being used in the certain interval. Thereafter, a cloud provider that actually acquires what are the cloud provider that actually acquires and manages the computing infrastructure required for providing the service. They actually run the software that uh, provides the service and make arrangement to deliver the cloud service to the cloud consumer through network access. Again, the cloud provider are of three type. Who are the three type cloud provider? Software as a service provider, platform as a service provider, and infrastructure as a service provider. So the cloud provider will discuss. They actually cloud provider acquire and manages some computing devices, some computing platforms, some computing services, some computing some means they provide some softwares. They make arrangement for delivering of particular services to the certain type of cloud consumers. So they actually administrate network access as well. Thereafter, they are of cloud provider are of three types. Software as a service provider who actually develops, configures, and manages and updates some operations o- of software application. Means if you are a software as a service provider, then you develop, configure, and maintain some software application on cloud infrastructure. Then software as a service provider actually maintains expected level to the cloud consumer. Then platform as a service provider manages some computing infrastructure for the platforms and components. Then there are various runtime software execution like stack, database, and other middlewares. These are the basically part of that PaaS providers. Then IaaS cloud providers provide the physical hardware, cloud softwares that actually make some of the provisioning of these infrastructure service. And this type of physical hardware and cloud software are being provided by the IaaS cloud consumer that actually makes the provisioning of the infrastructure service. Some of the examples of such IaaS cloud providers are physical servers and network equipment, then software, then storage devices, host OS, hypervisors for the virtualizations. So these are the examples of IaaS cloud provider services. Please read the slide properly so that you will have better understanding what are the difference between software as a service provider, platform as a service provider, and IaaS cloud provider. So basically, you read about how they are different from each other. So any doubt in cloud consumer or cloud provider, you can ask about that cloud consumer or the cloud provider. So this is the cloud consumer that we discussed. SaaS consumer, PaaS consumer, IaaS consumer. Then we discussed cloud provider. Anything that you have doubt about that, so we'll discuss. So after the three type of cloud provider, we'll see what are the five major activities of cloud providers. So they actually do the service deployment, service orchestration, cloud service management, and security and privacy issues they manage. So these cloud providers are basically do these five activities: service deployment, service orchestration, service cloud service management, security, and privacy. So the five activities done by the five cloud providers. So the cloud auditor and cloud broker, cloud carrier. So these are the other three actors of cloud computing reference model, reference architecture. So we had already seen consumer and provider. Now we'll see what are the auditors. So they actually do the auditing, verifying the confirmation about the standards. So auditor do the evaluation of security, control, privacy, impact, and performance. These type of auditing are being done by the cloud auditor. Then auditing is especially related to some of the federal agency. What are the federal agency? They are a standard agency in a country, in a state, or in a company. So they are said to be federal agencies. Then security auditing. What this is important type of auditing. Privacy auditing second. So these two are the important examples of cloud auditing. What we do in the security auditing, basically assessment of security control to determine what are the control levels and how the controls are being implemented, whether they are correct or not, how the operation are being intended for the security, then what is the performance produced by these outcomes, whether they are desirable or not desirable. So all these security checks are being done. Then this is done by the verification of a compliance with the regulation and security policies. Then privacy auditing, which actually helps in the federal agency to comply with the privacy laws, regulations governing an individual privacy, and ensures the confidentiality, integrity, availability, and individual performance information at every stage of the development and operations. So these are the privacy issues, privacy auditing that are being taken care of. So privacy laws and regulations governing at the individual privacy and ensures the confidentiality, integrity, and availability are being done at the personal information at every stage of the development and environment. Then the fourth one is cloud broker. So the cloud broker are basically integration of cloud services that can be complex for the consumer. So the cloud broker actually do the integration of complex services. Hence, the cloud broker is needed for such integration of the complex services. Then broker actually manages the use and performance and delivery of cloud services. And the cloud broker actually negotiates a relationship between cloud providers and consumers. So these are the important criteria, goals, and objectives of a cloud broker. Then, in general, a cloud broker can actually provide services in the three categories. So, in general, the cloud broker have three categories like service integration, service aggregation, service arbitrage. What is service intermediation? The service intermediation basically says that broker enhances the service by improving capability and providing value added service to the consumer. So the broker actually improves the capability of a particular service and do some add-on, means they improve the service by some add-on features so that it will be user friendly, more secure, or easier to use. So these are the uh, performance improvement done by the broker at the service intermediation level. So this will actually improves managing access to the cloud service, identifying management and performance reporting, enhance the security. So all these things are being improved. Thereafter, service aggregation. Service aggregation are being like broker combines and integrates multiple services into one or more new services. So the service aggregation, they they actually combines, integrates, and have the multiple services into one or more service. So the broker have provides data integration and ensures the secure data movement. So these are the broker service aggregation part. So data integration and ensure secure data movement. Then service arbitrage. It is actually similar to service aggregation with flexibility to the chosen service from the multiple agency. So service arbitrage is basically service aggregation with some flexibility to choose some service at the multiple agency. Which multiple agency means you have various agencies and you have to choose some of the service and do the aggregation. So for example, the broker can select some of the service with best response time. So this is an example. So you have multiple agencies, multiple service providers, and you choose out of those multiple providers one or two or three which service you want to use. So you choose the best service provider, and then you do the aggregation, and this is service arbitrage. For example, you choose best response time service provider. The next one we'll discuss cloud carrier. Before that, you'll see this slide and ask any question or any query that you have. So we'll see the fourth type of cloud actor, which is cloud carrier. This is fifth type of cloud actor. Means we had seen cloud provider, cloud consumer, cloud consumer, cloud provider, then cloud auditor, then cloud broker, and fifth one is cloud carrier. So what does the cloud carrier do? So cloud carrier basically provides network or telecommunication or other access devices. So we use all these. Thereafter, the examples of such is cloud consumer, like cloud service through network access devices, such computer, laptops, mobile phones, mobile internet devices. All these things are basically part of the cloud consumer. These uh, are the features of cloud carrier. The distribution of cloud services is basically normally provided by network telecommunication and carriers or transport agents, where the transport agents basically refers to the business organizations. So they actually provide physical transport or storage media. So such as high capacity and high drivers. Then distribution of cloud services basically rely on the transport agents network, how the networks are there, telecommunications are, and there are various transport agents like business organizations. So they actually do the physical transportation of storage media with high capacity hard drives. So what does it mean? That there is a company which actually hires, which has trucks or uh, some cars, some transportation medium, which actually carries all the high storage mediums like high amount of hard drives. So all these things are being kept on the transport uh, trucks or some vehicle, and they've been transferred. So why it has been done? Because there's large amount of network and telecommunication usage are being required. So this is why physical transportation are being provided. And what are the example that we had seen for the cloud carriers, that what they provide to the cloud consumer are like network access device, some computers, laptops, some mobile and internet devices. Connections with all these things are being provided by the cloud carriers. Then what the cloud carrier do? It actually do the service level agreement with the cloud provider. So the cloud carrier and cloud provider actually do the service level agreement to provide consistent service to the cloud consumer. So what they do the cloud provider and cloud carrier do the service level agreement. For what? For providing better service to the cloud consumer, for providing all the needs of cloud consumers. So this is how the three members, cloud provider, cloud carrier, and cloud consumer, are being involved legally. Then we'll see the scope of control between the providers and consumers. So what does it mean in this service diagrams? You can see the application layer is at the topmost part. Middleware layer is at the middle part. Operating system layer is at the ground, lowermost part. There are two ends: service providers means cloud providers, and the top one is cloud consumers. So how much access that you have and how much service that you provide are being defined in this diagram. So we'll see the 3 points: that application layers are used by SaaS consumer. Okay, so what does it mean by only there are three layers? So this application layers are being used by SaaS consumer, this one, cloud consumer and SaaS. Then what are being this some installation management and things are being done by the platform as a service consumer. What does it mean? So this platform as a service provider actually provides installation management and maintained by the so these are being maintained by the uh, platform as a service consumer. So and then IaaS consumer and SaaS provider. So IaaS consumer are been providing these application layers. If then these are the application layer are being used by whom? Cloud consumer uses, SaaS consumer uses that application layer, or some platform as a service consumer actually uses. IaaS consumer actually manages and install these services. Software as a service install and manages these applications. Thereafter, middleware layer, which is being used by the PaaS consumer. Middleware layer, which is being used by the PaaS consumer, who actually provides it. So this are being installed, managed, and maintained by the IaaS consumer or platform as a service consumer. So these two provides IaaS consumer and platform as a service provider actually deals with this. Then middleware is being hidden from the SaaS consumer. So SaaS consumer will not able to know about this middleware. And then the lowermost part, IaaS layer, which is equivalent to the operating system, you can see, or hardware in the computer. So IaaS layer is being hidden from the SaaS consumer and the platform as a service consumer. So these two won't be able to know about the this operating system layer. Means application layer and middleware layer don't know about what are the operating system and how they are being managed. Means how the infrastructure as a service layer are being managed. Then consumer of this IaaS layer are having the freedom to choose OS to be hosted. So those who are using this IaaS layer, they install their operating system or the resources network by themselves. So these are the three key points according to this diagram, and you can obviously clear by yourself that cloud consumer having SaaS, PaaS, and IaaS in the three different layer, and cloud provider also have the three different layer to provide the service. So you should see and choose. If you have any query or doubt, anything related to that, you may ask. Otherwise, we'll wind up the class. Tomorrow we'll start various type of cloud computing architecture. So thank